Pleasure to talk to Kevin Holland, who we just saw a couple of days ago in Las Vegas against Derek Brunson. Unfortunately, that night it did not go his way. His very impressive 5-fight winning streak has come to an end. A lot of people still talking about what transpired at the Apex. Always appreciate when someone comes on the show to talk about a loss. It's easy to come on after a big win, but here he is after the disappointing night in Las Vegas. So first off, Kevin, let me ask you, how are you feeling about the fight a little less than 2 days later?
Could have did more, probably more worried about the time than I was worried about the fight. It's like, it is what it is. Props to Brunson, I don't feel bad, work on the wrestling, get back in there.
What do you mean by worried about the time as opposed to the fight?
I kept talking about how long 25 minutes was. And I was just like, the whole training camp, I was doing 25 minutes and it was killing me. It was a lot of work. And then we got in there and we did the fight and it was 25 minutes was up before I knew it. And I was like, oh, that was 25 minutes. I'm not that tired. I was like, guess I should have did more, instead of worried about the time.
Did you underestimate him?
No, not at all. It's like, you can hear the interviews kind of going into it. I was telling everybody Brunson's pretty good everywhere. He's not as big as a slouch as everybody thinks he is. He only loses to really, really good people. It's like, I didn't underestimate Brunson. It just, he did a good job. He did a good job of taking the shots and he did a good job of shooting his shots, so, hey son, close that door all the way for me, so he did a good job.
Did he surprise you with anything?
No, I mean, his ability to recover after I hit him a few times, surprised me. His ability to not let me create distance. You did it already, buddy. It's close. To not create distance when we were in the guard, he did good there. He settled for guard instead of trying to pass and get to a very dominant position. One time he got the mount, reversed it kind of relatively quick without taking any damage. So, it's just weird.
So as you know, one of the big talking points after the fight was, oh, he talked too much. He didn't take it seriously. He blew it, all this stuff and more. What is your response to that criticism?
Blew it. I could say, yeah, definitely blew it. Should have took Brunson out. Bumps him. It's like, it's not going to stop calling him that. Should have took him out. It is what it is. It didn't take him out. It's like, I'll go rattle off some wins. And it's like, it's somebody I'd still love to take out. He didn't take me out. He always said he would. I didn't take him out. I always said I would. I mean, if he's happy with, laying on top of me and that ultimately being his win, then, we're two totally different kind of people. But me personally, I like when the ref's pulling me off, it's just a better feeling. But he did his job. He got the job done, and so I seen a little meme today. I was like the grappling dummy. I had my face on there and I was like, good one. So he did good, he laid there. He did good.
Does that fight go any differently if you talk less?
No, it goes different if I work more, it's if I don't know. It's like the Jacare fight, we did a good job of mentally getting in my head not to really turn my back and give him my back so that way he could secure a choke because you were worried about the offensive Jacare on the ground, as far as submission threats. And then you get into the Brunson fight and it's like, last second we have the talk and it's like, it's okay now to turn my back and give that up versus the whole camp. I was kind of doing a mindset of kind of like not giving that up anymore. I should have just turned, I should have turned, the threat of a choke is there, but it's like his jiu-jitsu is not that great. It's like, I could have stood up each time and probably got back to fighting. I did it in the fourth and I did it in the fifth, but it's like, I don't know, should have did it sooner. No excuses. I should have did what I was supposed to do sooner. As I should have worked more to getting my feet on the hips, pushing out and getting up. He did a good job of keeping his hips close, staying chest to chest when he needed to. He did a very good job of smothering, and it's like talking less would have been great. Talking more would have been worse, right? So talking works when it works. And when it doesn't work, I'm the bad guy. So that's the hard part about being who I am and how I fight, and doing the things that I do. It's great when it's great. And when it's bad, oh my gosh, it's the worst thing in the world. So, and so you can be the biggest idiot in the world or you can be a genius. And that's borderline of it.
Well, it's an interesting thing because leading up to the fight, there was all this buzz about, look at this guy who talks so much, how fun he is, 5 in a row, this and that. And now the second you lose, it's like, well, no. The talking, like all the things that people were celebrating about you going into the fight are now, in their opinion, the reason why you lost the fight. It's a little weird how that works.
No, I didn't lose the fight because of any of those things. I mean, if that's what they want to say, if that's what makes them feel better about me, then props to them. But Brunson did a good job that night. He did a good job of staying chest to chest. And it's like if that was the game plan, he did a really, really good job. Props to props if anything, props to Henry Hoof. Knows how to rebuild a man's career, right? So good job to Henry Hoof.
The pressure of being in a main event for the UFC, did that get you at all?
If I'm supposed to say yeah, then yeah. But honestly,
No.
I don't feel like it did. You know, it's like I don't care if it's I don't care if it's main event. I don't care if it's co-main. I don't care what it is. You know, if anything was getting to me, it's probably the fact that I was finally going to fight 25 minutes. And I knew Brunson was the type of individual, if I didn't take out, I was going to be in there for 25 minutes, you know, and it was like hoping so I could take him out somewhere in between the time. If anything got to me, I'd probably say it was that. Main event, UFC, no, that's dreams come true. I'm a dreamer. I'm happy to be there, you know. Co-main, somewhere on the card, it doesn't matter. I love to fight. So it wouldn't matter if it was with the UFC or somewhere else, main event, 5 rounds. I think I was just more worried about the 5 rounds than I was worried about the magnitude of the event. I handled all my interviews just right. You know, I did everything else just right. I can see you saying Shabazian froze when it was his main event time because, you know, he went out there and I don't even think he performed his teep. I didn't perform to my teep, but I just think that Brunson did a very good job of staying chest to chest. You know, it's like I caught him with some shots and I got over eager and I wanted to put him out. I just really, really wanted to put him out. And he did a good job of just tripping me up and getting me back down to the ground. You know, it's like, can't take that away from that man.
Okay, so I'd love to get your take on this. After the fight, UFC president Dana White told Yahoo Sports he thought you had a mental breakdown in there. He'd never seen anything like it. Equated it to Oliver McCall and Lennox Lewis in 1997. Do you know about that fight? Have you ever seen that fight before?
No.
In the middle of the fight, Oliver McCall essentially, like 4th or 5th round, turns his back in between rounds to his opponent Lennox Lewis and starts crying in the ring, like wanted out, and was legitimately having a nervous breakdown in the middle of the fight, and the fight was eventually called off. I will just say I did not see that. I saw the same Kevin Holland who we saw against Jacare and other fighters. But when you hear essentially your promoter, your boss say that about your performance on Saturday, I'm assuming you heard the comments by now, mental breakdown, all these things. What do you make of that?
It's no big deal. It's not the first time my boss has had some words about me to say, and it's probably not going to be the last time. It's okay. You know, it's like if he felt like I had a mental breakdown, it's my job to get back to a main event status and go out there and secure the bag and let him know that it's not a mental breakdown. And I'll probably go out there with a more killer mindset, but I'll probably still talk my way in there and sing that sweet lullaby before I put the guy to sleep. That is what I do. You know, it's like, make no mistake about it. That's what I've always done. You know, it's like I talk a little bit and then I knock somebody unconscious and then I probably talk a little bit after that. It's just what I do. Talked more than what I needed to do. Yeah. Talked a lot the contender fight the first time. Yeah. And it's like people could say that's how I deal with nerves. That's perfectly fine. I'm still out there scrapping. If you look at the numbers, it's like everybody's telling me I landed just as much, if not more significant strikes from on bottom than Brunson did that whole time on top. So, I mean, yeah, if it was a mental breakdown, I'm still smacking and, you know, cracking away while talking. You know, it's just, he did a good job of not letting me create that space to ultimately knock him unconscious. You know, I got leverage. He gave me a little bit more leverage on those shots and I would put him to sleep.
By the way, were you like this, like even like 8 years old, 9 years old, playing with your friends? Like, were you always a talker when you played sports?
Yeah. I mean, playing basketball with the buddies back in the day, you know, it's like I was a talker, you know, it's like we were on the streets, I was talking, you know. If we go play dominoes right now, I'm gonna talk. If we get on the video game, I'm gonna talk. It's just who I am.
Yeah. You're not looking to change, basically.
I mean, if you know what, if changing is what I need to do somewhere down the line, you know, in order to make the people that I truly, truly care about around me just a little bit more happy, then tiny changes we will make. But to overall say that I'm gonna change from who I am, I can't say that. You know, it's like I am who I am, and I look to become better, not different, if that makes sense.
Are you going to stick around at 185?
Yeah, I mean, I can stick around at 85. And then the thing about it is I tell you guys 70 because it's like, I want to go to 70 on my own terms and I want to go to 70 off of a win. You know, it's like, you know, the champ was like, all right, you know, this guy has to do this and do that before he can get here. And I'm like, all right, cool. It makes sense. You know, and all right, that's what we're going to do. So go out. My game plan was to knock out Brunson, go down to 70, 2 wins, you know, belt, come up. Now you got another super fight on your hands. You know, let's make it worthwhile. Who wants to have another just a contender here? You know, you want something big. And I always said if I was going to go to 70, it had to be worth it, you know. And I stopped going to 70 when I was on a local side because I didn't want to cut the weight for no money. You know, it's like, who wants to cut down to 170 pounds, 26 pounds, 1,500 to show, 1,500 to win? Who wants to do that? Now you're making way more than that, and the opportunity to do it is there. I was thinking about it, you know. Now I'm coming off a loss, and it's like, I seen Bilal Muhammad, you know, going for, you know, him. And I know we have those little back and forths because he's Brandon Allen's buddy, but make no mistake about it, I still want that fight. But 85, I'm not the type of person that tucks his tail and runs. So 85, there's unfinished business. It's like, you still got Brandon Allen, and it's like, I would love to get it back from Derek Brunson. And it's like, I'm going to have to work for that. He's an old dog who doesn't want to just give up that bone. So I'm going to have to pass him in the rankings to do that. So I can't just scurry down to 170. You know, it's like, but at the end of the day, I do whatever they tell me to do. So if the UFC tells me to do something, I'm going to do it. But I still think I can stay at 85. It's like, granted, Brunson was a little heavy to get off, but, you know, he's never been taken down. I took him down, you know, and it's like, and I smacked him up, you know. He had the control time. Props to you. Even if that was a jiu-jitsu match, you lost. It was an MMA fight, so you went off control time, good stuff. Damage, I think I did the damage. I look still pretty. You go do an interview with him, he has stitches. You know, so it is what it is. You know, it's like that blonde hair was turning orange by the time the night was done.
What do you walk around at?
196. I walked into 192. I don't care about, it's heavy. My right hand's heavy enough to knock out 85ers, and that's what matters.
By the way, why'd you weigh in at 183?
I was really going to shoot down to 75, but you know what I mean? I wanted to show the whole world that I was a super welterweight. But like sometimes when I feel like the obstacle's not big enough, I add a little bit more on. Got to quit doing that, you know?
Okay, yeah.
We'll figure it out.
I understand because I just did my show with him earlier that you reached out, or I think he reached out to you first. DC reached out, and he told me that he told me a couple of things that are very interesting to me. Number one, it looks like you may spend some time in San Jose to train with him and the team. Is that accurate?
Yeah. Travis is completely for it. Anytime Travis is down for something, I'm down with it. So Travis is good with it. I'm good with it. I tried to make it happen before this fight, but due to a few things that was going on at home, I couldn't make it happen. But now I don't have those things at home. I can make it happen.
He also said that you apologized in the sense of like, hey, sorry, I let people down. I'm sorry I let people down. Like that seems to be the thing that bothers you the most about this. Not necessarily that you lost, but you feel like you may have let people down.
Yeah.
Why do you feel that way? And how much does that bother you?
It bothered me a ton. You know, it's like I didn't sleep after the fight. You know, it's like I didn't sleep until I got on the plane, slept a couple hours on the plane, then I slept a little bit last night when I was at home. But it's like ultimately I didn't sleep after the fight. And it's not because I'm mad at myself. It's ultimately because I'm mad that I let people down. You know, it's like I hate to see the boss walk out pissed off that I didn't perform or that he felt the main event didn't go down as he wanted it to go down. That's on my hands. So I hate that. DC, we've had conversations before leading into this fight, and you know there were certain things that I'm supposed to be shooting for, and I guess I just never wrapped my mind around shooting for those things. So I apologize for not wanting as much as they want me to want. Now I feel like I just need to get those things to prove to them that I can do it. So it's not really to me; it's for everybody around me. You know, it's the people that care for me and the people that want to see me do well. It's like I don't want to do bad because I don't want them to. I don't want their hopes and their dreams of me to be washed down because I just don't give a, you know what I mean? So I'd rather go out there and get it and show them that I can do it because they believe in me. And if somebody genuinely believes in me, I have to get the job done. And so minor setback for a major comeback, you know, and it's like, I've never wanted it more. And it's like sitting up all night, sitting there thinking about it. And it's like, I do like to have fun. I love to have fun, but winning is just as fun, you know, and it's like winning is just as fun as having a good time, and a good time is ultimately cashing 2 checks and ripping somebody's head off, you know. And it's like, and I didn't get to rip Brunson's head off, you know, whether I was too eager or not hungry enough, I don't know. I'll go and I'll talk to somebody, I'll figure it out. And when I come back, the wrestling will be improved, the mindset will be there, everything that we need, it'll be there, and there'll be no more else, you know. And it's like, I accept losses because I just get in a bad position. And I'm like, oh, this is whatever, this isn't that bad. I never felt threatened, you know. Now I just feel threatened to lose seconds in the fight. And so for every second that I have, I'll go out there and get the job done.
You know, one thing that I wanted to ask you about, so, you know, DC was not critical of you in the sense that, you know, everyone else is saying, oh, you talk too much and all that stuff. Look, sometimes you just run into a buzzsaw. You run into a guy with a great game plan. But two things he mentioned, like, look, a lot's happened to you recently, right? You're in the video game now. You're getting all this love. You're the main event. Is it possible that maybe you were feeling yourself a little too much, that you were kind of just like on cloud nine and saying like, I'm invincible 5 in a row? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I was definitely feeling myself. Not feeling myself in the sense where I didn't put in the work. Let's not use that as an excuse. Not feeling
Right.
myself where I didn't know I need to go out there and I had a job to do. No, no, no. It's like I really wasn't feeling myself until I got into the cage or until I got to the venue and I was back at the Apex, baby. Let's go. Yeah, feeling myself for sure, but I'm always feeling myself. So let's not use any excuses. It's like
No,
I'm
and I'm
not.
not trying to set you up for excuses, but I'm just
Yeah,
always curious about
yeah. It's like I'm always.
reflections.
It's like I'm feeling myself right now. It's like
Right.
jacket I got on, the hat I got on, the shoes I got on. I'm always feeling myself. It's like I always feel great. It's overly great, probably so. It's like I felt fantastic going in there, and it's like felt fantastic just to go in there and ultimately get laid on. It's like I hear everybody talking about he talked too much or he did this or he possibly did that. At the end of the day, I got laid on. I didn't get my ass beat. I got laid on. I have to accept not being laid on. I have to accept with not being comfortable with a man just being on top of me. It's like I just have to accept the fact that if I'm not knocking a person's head off, I'm not winning the fight. And that's just the way it has to go.
The interactions between you and Khabib in between rounds were very entertaining. At what point did you realize that he was there?
Right away.
Okay.
Right away. Somebody came up to me and they were like, "Hey, Khabib's here to watch the fights," and I was like, "Oh, sweet, dope. DC's not here. Khabib's here. I'm getting wrestling advice, So, and I got some, and I took Brunson down, So
Did you really use what he told you to do? Like, did
yeah,
you actually?
hips. I got hit like 3 or 4 times trying to center the hips, and then as soon as I like started finding the timing of where his hips were, I got the takedown. It was. I understood what he was saying, It's like Travis talks like that, real short sentences and stuff like that. It's completely understandable to me. I get exactly where he was coming from. Probably should just listen to Travis off the get-go, which I was, We had a game plan and the things that they wanted me to do, I tried to do, but it really wasn't like I was getting exactly there. He was just hitting it from a different angle. Little trips that we weren't expecting. That's what Brunson was doing. It wasn't big slams. I wanted the big slams that he talked about. Instead, he did little small trips and shorter doubles. It was good game plan for Brunson. Very, very good game plan.
So I wanted to ask you about that. You're talking a lot in between rounds, right? That's who you are. That's your style. You're talking to Khabib and all that. But your coaches, do they ever say to you like, "Hey, in between rounds, like we need to talk to you now. Now it's our time to talk."
They said everything that they had to say. They could say it all in 30 seconds. I mean, they told me everything and I responded to them as well. As well as responding to Khabib, I told them what I had to tell them as well. It's like Travis would say something and I'd look over and I'd be like, "Yes, sir." It's like he'd say, "You need to do this," and I'd tell him, "I'm trying to do that." He's a little heavy here, can't go that angle. It's like then my strength and conditioning boxing coach Shug, he'd be like, "Well, you're gonna have to throw 2 jabs in the right hand." And it's like, all right, I want to throw 2 jabs in the right hand. Then I'd go out there and I'd throw 1 jab in the right hand. And it was just like, it's me. It's just me being who I am. Sometimes I'm too much. I was too much that night. It is what it is. It's like I'll go back the next time, and then there'll be another time where I'm too much, but I still won't lose. It'll be slightly different because I'll be a little bit more hungry for the kill. It's like I guess I just wasn't hungry enough for the kill.
Be clear about the AK thing. You're not leaving your team, right? You're just going to go train there a little bit.
Never going to leave my team. It's like I'll do it like an oil field, and it's like a 2 weeks on, 1 week off type thing, or 1 week on, 2 weeks off type thing. DC said he has a goal for me to get taken down 5,000 times, get up 5,000, so I can get up 5,001. And then he said the goal is to shoot 100 takedowns and for me to be able to stop all of them so they can get none. It's like I hear these words, I believe these words, and I'll go out there and I'll bleed these words, and it's like, and I'll go out there and I'll do it. That being said, it's like I will still go home and I will still talk to my coaches because my coach ultimately is like a father to me, and me and him will have those conversations and we will figure it out. Everything that somebody teaches me and everything that everybody brings together, I will take it home and me and him will talk about it. As long as he's open about it and I'm open about it, we can bring it in and we can make something magical happen with it. If not, and I'm just not learning and I'm not improving, and I have to learn and I have to improve, and it's like, that's just what I have to do.
When would you like to return in a perfect world?
Tomorrow. It's like, nah, you have to go work on things, right? You have to go work on things. I'm a pretty fast learner. A perfect world, it's like a perfect world, freaking Carl Robinson gets sick. I get to step in and smack Brandon Allen on a rematch. That's a perfect world. The road's not perfect, so we'll see what happens. I'll get in there, I'll get the working, and we'll see what they want me to do. You know, it's like I'll save my chochos. I'm gonna go buy so many shoes, and I'm gonna go spend so much money on the green machine. Who knows how long it'll be? I'll be sitting on the sideline. It's not my fault that I'm sitting on the sideline, but it is my fault that I'm sitting on the sideline. So I'll go and I'll work on the things. You know, there's a certain thing that they want me to do, and then there's another thing that they want me to do, and I'll go do both of those things. And once I get both of those things done, yeah, it's like I'll be back. You know, it's like for sure, working on the wrestling is number one, right? And figuring out what's going on mentally when I get in there and I'm having too good of a time is number two. I don't think there's anything mentally, but you know, if getting it checked out is something they want, getting it checked out is something I'll do. I'll do whatever it takes. I'm a businessman.
When you say checked out, you mean like talking to a sports psychologist or something like that?
Yeah, I'll go talk to a sports psychologist, figure out what's going on in this old.
Who recommended that?
You know, it's been recommended, so I'll go do
Okay.
what's recommended. You know, it's like whatever they tell me to do, I'm gonna do it. You know, it's my job to be the best that I can be, so that way they can get the best out of their money, right? You know, it's like if they want a machine, I'll be a machine. You know, it's like if they want a dog, I'll be a dog. You know, it's like they don't want a clown, so better quit clowning now.
By the way, you were there when the young woman fainted on Friday at the weigh-ins. You were the next one up, and you came in with the backflips and everything.
Yeah.
What was your read on that situation? From afar, it looked scary, her fainting twice. What did you see?
On the first faint, I was just thinking like she hit her butt, let her get up and get back on the scale, so that way, you know, she can still go out there and fight and make her money. You know, because I freaking hate when somebody can't fight. That sucks. On the second faint, I was like, dang, I can't co-sign for that no more. That sucks. You know, and it's like I hate that it happened. You know, it's like, but I'm no doctor and I'm no scientist, so there was nothing that I could do about it. But I knew when I got in there, I had to bring that energy. So I came in there with the cartwheel, I came in there with the big jump, and I came in there with the you know, and it's gonna pick the building back up. You know, it's like ain't no time like a good time. And I feel like everybody was starting to panic, and you know, it's like, you gotta get over it. Let's get back, you know, let's get our feelings back right.
Last thing for you, Kevin, and again, I appreciate this. Could you put us in the shoes of someone like it is an unbelievable thing that you guys do and the women do as well. You fight and there's a spotlight and it's you and 4-ounce gloves against another human being and you win 5 in a row in 7 months. And people are talking about you as fighter of the year and all this stuff. And everyone's buzzing about you, feeling all this stuff. And then you lose and everyone feels like it's like they turned on you all of a sudden. What is Monday afternoon like after all that? You leave Las Vegas, you leave the spotlight, you go back to normal life. There's social media, there's pundits, there's people talking about you. What is that feeling like after the year you just had?
For most people, it would suck. For me, it's not a big deal, man. Doesn't really bother me. I'm not the type of person that's easily fazed by these things. You know, it's like, if they like me, they like me. If they love me, they love me. If they hate me, they hate me. Either way, as long as they're tuning in and they feel like I'm entertaining, that's all that matters. You know, it's like, as long as they're watching the next fight. If they're watching the next fight to see me get whooped, or they're watching the next fight to see me win, or they're watching the next fight to see me do something crazy, that's all that matters. As long as they're still paying, that's all I care about. You know, and it's like, they're always gonna have something to say. You know, and it's like back in the day, man, there used to be this guy, man, he used to have candy for sale, right? One week he'd have really, really good candy. The next week he'd have really, really bad candy, right? And then he'd go on a hot streak and have nothing but the best candy that you could buy. And you'd be like, bro, where'd you get your candy from? And, you know, he wouldn't tell you because it was his candy and he wanted to keep selling it, right? And it was the greatest candy in the world. But every time he came around with that bad candy, you'd have like 4 or 5 people who would just bash this guy's name. Just like, oh, we hate this guy. He's the worst guy in the world. And then as soon as he came back with the good candy, he's the greatest in the world. You need to go see the Candy Man. There's nobody better than the Candy Man. There's always going to be those 4 to 5 people in the road, you know? And there's always going to be that guy that does good, has a little stumble. And once he stumbles, there's going to be those 4 to 5 people there with their eyes and with their mouths and with their ears waiting to do something. And then once he gets right back up, those 4 to 5 people will be like, oh, no, that's the guy. That's the guy. It's part of the process, baby. It's part of the process. It's part of being the Candy Man. It's part of having what they want.
You want to be UFC champion?
If they want me to be UFC champion, I want to be UFC champion.
Who's
I
that?
really just don't want to lose any more fights. So if that puts me in that position, kudos. The gold is not something that I'm searching for. These guys who search for the gold, they never get it. You know, and it's like, would it be nice to put in a mantle one day? It'd be lovely. Is that my sole desire in this world? No. You know, it's like, will it be my sole desire in this world one day? Maybe so, because I have a problem with wanting something I just can't seem to get. So it better stop staying away from me or I'm going to have to come get it.
And by the way, who's they when you say if they want?
The people around me, the people
Okay.
around. It's like if that's what my coach wants it, so I should want it, right?
Okay.
DC wants me to do better, so I should want to do better. I really, really like DC. It's like it's really weird. It's like I'm still a kid in the game, whether they like it or not. It's like I really, really like look up to DC because since I've been in the UFC, it's like from day one, he's kept it nothing but real, and he's been nothing but a good role model to look up to. You know what I'm saying? And then it's really weird because I got John Jones over here. I like John Jones too. As a kid, same build and stuff like that. I'm like, oh my
Right.
God, that's good. He's so cool. He's so this, he's so that. And so every once in a while I talk to him and he's like, he likes what I do and he wants me to do better. And then you got DC over here wanting me to do better. These are two guys who I look at like, I don't say there's GOATs, but these are two guys, if I had to say there's GOATs, these are the GOATs. These guys are great to me. In my eyes and in my opinion, they're the greatest ever. And for people like that want to see me do good, and for somebody like the boss to want to see me do better, I have to go get it. So it's like, do I want it today? I'm not going to sit up here and tell you I don't want it, but I'm not going to sit up here and tell you that that's the only thing in the world that I need. But I need to want it. I need to want it, I guess, in order to go get it. I need to want it, so we'll figure it out.
Good luck to you, Kevin. I appreciate you doing this. Glad to see that you are, handling it all very well in typical Kevin Holland style. And I look forward to the comeback.
Well, like I said about Israel Saying, true loser, right? Boss, I know how to take it, baby.
Thank you, Kevin. All the best to you.
Thank you, boss. Appreciate it.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.